Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be demoing this bronzy, spicy type of moment. Stay tuned. So I'm gonna start today with a good moisturizer. This is the Embryolisse moisturizer. It's a French brand. Warm it up on my hands. Next, I'm going to be taking my Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Eye Cream. I love this stuff because you really only need a little bit. Press that in with my ring fingers. To really get a dewy glow today, I'm going to be using a face oil. I'm using the CEO Glow by Sunday Riley. This is a vitamin C turmeric face oil. Warm it up in the hands. I'm just pressing that into the skin on the neck. Lips too. My lips are looking a little crusty dusty right now. So I'm gonna take my Aquaphor. This is a super hydrating ointment. It's for dry, cracked skin. It works really good on chapped lips. And last but not least, for a layer of protection, I'm gonna be using my Unseen Sunscreen by Supergoop. This stuff is really interesting to me because it feels like a makeup primer, but it's an SPF and has a really interesting texture. It feels nice. It's just not what you would expect from a sunscreen. Today I'm gonna be using the Laura Mercier primer. This is a foundation primer. It's really lightweight. It's water-based. It's like a little too much. And it just feels really nice. So now that the face is prepped, I'm just gonna go in with the RMS Beauty foundation and just use it to spot treat my blemishes. This stuff has a nice full coverage and really creamy consistency, so it's really gonna blend nicely, but also do a good job of covering up. And it actually lasts a long time too. I'm ashamed to say that I slept in my makeup last night, which I never do, but I was filming a makeup look with this foundation last night, my Summer Dewy Glow. It was like, you know, the later half of the day when I started filming that thing, and I have a hard time taking off my makeup at night when I feel like I just put it on and obviously we're not going anywhere. So in my mind, I'm like, listen, makeup, when they say makeup should last like, you know, 8 to 10 hours or however long, I'm like, let me see what it do and what it does. Let me see what you're really made of here. Cause I don't want no 1 minute foundation. Anyways, I feel like when I put on makeup at night and then it's just time to go to bed, I didn't get my proper use out of it. So that sort of justified the whole sleeping in it debacle. And I'm really just gonna use that spot treatment effect as my main foundation. I'm not doing any all over coverage. Now I'm gonna go in with some concealer. I'm using the Kevyn Aucoin Skin Enhancer in the shade SX05. I'm gonna take a little bit on a brush here. This is one of the Coastal Scents brushes. It came in a set, so I'm not exactly sure of the name of this specific one, but it's just a little flat guy. Little guy like that. I'm just brushing a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna contour with my Bobbi Brown foundation stick in the shade Warm Sand. Using my Bdellium Tools brush 954. Funny story about this brush. I bought a set of these brushes a whole brush set by this brand when I had a last minute client and I didn't have any time to wash my brushes. So I just bought all new brushes. The commitment is real. I'm gonna use my foundation brush. This is from It Cosmetics, their Duo End brush. I get so much use out of this bad boy. It just blends really nicely. Both ends of the brush work really nice. I would say this and a beauty blender are my two favorite products for blending foundation. My most used for sure. So at this point, we still have a very skin-like texture. Nothing is too heavy. We haven't done any powder yet, so that's another story, but I have very minimal product on my skin, which is great. I feel like if you can get products where you don't need a lot of them, but you get a lot of power, a lot of coverage without having to layer them on, that's what you want. I'm gonna prep my eye with a little bit of concealer. This is MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in the shade NC30. I don't really use primers. I've just gotten so used to using concealers on my lid. The reason why I'm using a different concealer for my eyelid than for the rest of my face is because I'm going for a very dewy skin-like look, but I find that when I use those types of concealers on my eyelids, they tend to crease a little bit, which nobody wants. So I just take a very thin amount of this, and this does a better job at prepping for eyeshadow than some of those other guys, and just kind of buff it out using a flat concealer brush to kind of clean up my brow, even though I didn't do any brows. And buffing out that thin layer. Make sure there's no weirdness as it meets the rest of your face. Okay, to set my concealer on my eyelids, I'm gonna be using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish in the shade 2 Medium. I've been loving this thing. I'm gonna be using the Morphe Bronzed Babe palette. I've had this palette forever, and it just has some fun, bronzy, shimmery shades in it, so I feel like this is great for a nice summertime glam. I'm gonna be picking up my Morphe R37 brush. This is a nice fluffy little guy, and I'm gonna be going in here with Hang 10. It's gonna be my first transition shade here on the lid. Doing this sort of, I want to say S-like shape, so I kind of have that cat eye moment happening. Just gonna go down into my nose a little bit as well. Now I'm gonna take Road Trip on a slightly smaller brush. This is Morphe R39. And this is going in my actual crease. Gonna take some to do a little fake wing right here. Kind of this outer V. And blend it out. Next I'm taking Beach Please. And this is another brush from Coastal Scents. This came in a pack as well. And I'm just literally stabbing my crease and just packing it in right there. Now just using the tiny little bit of concealer I had on the back of my hand, I'm just gonna cut the crease here. And then after I cut the crease, I like to go back in with a blending brush and just smooth out the top. Just one of the brushes I already used. I'm not a huge fan of like a harsh cut crease. I just like a little base to make the shimmer I'm about to put right there pop. I'm gonna take my Fix Plus spray and a brush and spritz it, get it a little damp. And I'm gonna go into Faux Real, a nice copper moment. Circle that brush, get it nice and creamy. I swear, like spritzing a little spritz on eyeshadow, especially shimmery eyeshadows, it just kind of turns it into like a cream-like texture. It's really pretty. Very reflective. Where am I going, you ask? Nowhere. I got Starbucks for the first time today since quarantine. I've been just scared. I feel like, well, one, I live right next to a Starbucks and it never stops being crowded. As a matter of fact, it's been more crowded since Corona. And I'm just like, that seems sketchy to me. But I was just feeling desperate. I just went for it. So pray for me. Hopefully I make it. I like that little thing. Now I'm going to highlight with my Hourglass concealer in the shade Oat. This color is pretty light, so I'm only taking it in strategic areas, but it does have that creamy consistency that's gonna go nice with the ones we already used. And you can use this to clean up that eyeshadow, brighten our under eyes a little bit. Go ahead and blend it out with the Beauty Blender. I'm gonna go ahead and set my face now using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Filter, Flawless Filter Powder. Now to really complete that eye, I'm just using that same brush, just dragging that product underneath. And smoothing out. I like to clean up the shape of my eyeshadow, but I don't really want like a straight line here. I want it to be nice and diffused and blendy. I'm gonna curl my eyelashes. Apply my MAC Extended Play Mascara. I'm gonna take some brown eyeliner in the shade Trendsetter. Go under my eye. Probably should have done this before the mascara, but this was a bit of an afterthought. Taking a nice skinny little pencil-y brush like this. I'm gonna go in with my Becca x Chrissy Teigen palette. I'm obsessed with this. As you can see, one, it's broken, and two, I've just used it so much. I'm just using this fluffy brush from Bdellium. 962 is the name of it. I literally mix them all up, warm it up. And this is like a blush, a bronzer, a highlight, all in one. Applying some Ardell Wispies. These are the Demi Wispies. I'm usually a regular Wispies girl, but I don't know, this quarantine just has me feeling like being a little more low-key. I'm gonna go in with my soap brows, spritzing it up, taking my spoolie, combing them up and away, up, and away. Now time for some lit. Today I'll be using LP127 from Ben Nye. using my OG favorite e.l.f. Oh my gosh. The shade is like chestnut or walnut. Praline. No, it was something like that. This stuff is so good.